Hey there to my 50 subscribers, my future subscribers, and all the people that secretly watch me without subscribing, um, and all the people that have subscribed since I actually filmed this, because I am filming this on May 4th. Um, Today, you're not going to believe this, I did it again. Today, we're doing chapter 4 in Enigmas of Auslage. I should just leave it on the desk. So anyway, I'm just going to read it. At the end of the video, there's the lyric video for anybody that wants to watch it. And in the description, there's a link to the person that helped me with it, because I wrote the lyrics based on the book and had somebody help me do the music and singing. And so anyway, chapter 4 is called Rise to the Occasion. Friday night was always a good night for watching TV. Sometimes Jennifer would come over and watch with us, but tonight it is just Grace and me. Our mom had gone to the farmer's market earlier in the day and bought us some fresh fruit. So I chop up part of the melons and put the pieces into two bowls. I add some grapes and berries, grab 2 forks, and head to the couch. Grace is already sitting on the couch waiting for me. I hand her one of the bowls and a fork, then sit down. It's getting ready to come on. You almost missed the beginning. Our favorite Friday night show is about a quirky detective. He has a strange way of solving crimes that is often funny. The television viewers know how he solves them, but most of the characters on the show are not supposed to know. We sit quietly, enjoying the show, anxious for the commercials. We love to talk about the show when the commercials are on to see how long it takes us to solve the crimes. Grace mutes the TV when the first commercial comes on. I think the owner of the jewelry store did it. Grace often thinks that the victim is actually the guilty one, and many times she has been right. I often like to see further outside the box, so I usually start with someone that is less likely. I bet it's the new mayor. He probably ran for office just so he could lead a secret double life. You're just saying that because it's the craziest idea. You have to admit that would be a good way to get away with something. Besides that, it would be a good storyline. True, but there is no motive. The owner of the jewelry store might need to get some money from an insurance claim. That is very possible too. Oh, it's back on. Grace unmutes the TV so we can hear it again. We continue with these conversations on each commercial. Usually about 45 minutes into the show, it is obvious who is guilty and why. This time we are both wrong, but it sure makes watching TV more exciting. We end up watching TV until midnight. By then we are both tired and want to be rested for church, so we head off to bed. Summer vacation sure seems to be going fast. Usually I'm looking forward to it ending so I can get back to learning, but this year is a lot different. First, the field trip was amazing. I kind of wish that the others remembered how great it was, but I'm not sure if that would help Jennifer make things worse. I'm sure she would like to remember seeing her grandma, but then she wouldn't be able to see her again. And if I told her about it, that wouldn't guarantee that she would remember. So I think that would be even more upsetting to her. I don't know why I remember it so well. I really need to figure out a way that Jennifer can go see her. But that will have to wait until things settle down. We might just have to dig out the tunnel so we can come and go. But then other people might damage Molly's world. I guess this is just one of those things in life there isn't an easy answer for. Then I wore myself out finding missing things for people. Jennifer's the only person that knows about it, so I find things and put them on people's porches, front steps, or in their mailboxes. I don't have to exhaust myself like that. I like to do it though, and I believe the ability was given to me to help people. I'm not doing it as often as I was. I have found so much stuff I don't think there are many more things missing in town. So now it's mostly finding things that people lose day to day. Then we found the baby foxes. We had to help them. They were so cute and helpless. I'm not complaining at all. It has definitely been worth it. And we've gotten a lot of help with them anyway. We guess that they are about 3 months old now, based on our research into the gestation of foxes. It's kind of like a mix between having babies and toddlers. On the one hand, they can't really tell us what they want or need. On the other hand, they are full of energy and entertain themselves most of the time. Denny keeps looking at Jennifer and me, but not saying a word. He has mostly kept to himself since the incident with Drake. It's been just over 2 weeks and Drake doesn't realize what happened. He just assumes that he fell, hit his head, and had a strange dream. I've heard that he keeps asking Denny how his hair got damaged. Denny tells him that his memory was affected by the blast that knocked Drake down. I'm not sure if Denny really believes what he is saying, or if he is trying to protect us. Maybe he just doesn't want to admit that he thinks he is going crazy. I'm not going to tell Drake any different. I don't think Jennifer will tell him either. Eventually we'll have to find a way to talk to Denny without telling him too much. I don't want him to think he's crazy and end up in some sort of mental hospital. It's still fairly early on Saturday morning. The only reason I'm awake right now is because I'm hearing that voice again. At least it isn't freaking me out like last time, but it's saying Luke, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get Luke alone to talk to him and find his crystal. He's my brother's best friend, but my brother wouldn't understand, especially since I can't tell him about the things that we can do. I'm feeling like we need to go to Emmett and Phoebe's farm, west of town. That's gonna pose an additional dilemma. I guess I should get up and get ready for church. Maybe I'll think of an idea while I'm getting ready. I get a pair of black jeans out of my dresser. That's the easy part. All of my jeans go with everything, except the pair from the 4th of July. I couldn't get the stain out, so I soaked them in some red dye. Now they have a dark raspberry color to them. As for the shirt, I have a closet full of them. I probably have enough shirts that I wouldn't have to wear the same shirt more than 4 times each year. I do have my favorites, of course, so I wear some of those often. I grab a short-sleeved button-up navy blue shirt with matching ruffles down the buttons. Since it's only 5 a.m., I decide to soak in the bath with a good book. I like to switch authors when I finish reading a book. It keeps them all with a fresh new feeling. I just finished reading Dean Koontz's Dragon Tears again. It was amazing. This time I decided to read Stephen King's Night Shift. It's a book of short stories, which is nice. I can read an entire story in a short time while soaking in the tub. It will actually be the 3rd time I have read it, but you always catch things that you missed previously. I have read most of the books that I own multiple times for this reason. I quietly head to the bath so I don't wake Grace up. We arrive at church a few minutes before the service is supposed to start. Jennifer's already sitting where we always do, saving my seat for me. It isn't really needed to save the seat, but it's a habit. Most people sit in the same spot every week. Sorry we're late. Gabriel wasn't minding this morning, so breakfast was delayed. I hope you slept better than I did. I'm tired. You haven't missed anything yet, other than Luke's grandma, Caroline, screaming at a frog. Who knew she was afraid of frogs? And yes, I slept fine. Why couldn't you sleep? I looked over at Caroline and her husband Andrew, had his arm around her. It looked like he was trying to comfort her, while her daughters also tried to comfort her. Hope had a hand on one of her knees. Then Miss Isabella gave her a hug before sitting back in the bench next to her. She was obviously shook up. Well, Grace and I watched TV really late. Then this morning, there was that voice again. It was saying Luke. Has he been acting strange at all? Maybe a little jumpy now that you mention it. How are you going to take him to find his crystal? I don't know yet, but hopefully I can figure it out soon so I can get some rest tonight. What is his ability? I don't know that yet either. Mrs. Destiny is sitting with Mr. Ryan behind us. Their daughter Brooklyn is sitting next to Mrs. Destiny, while little Nick is next to his sister. As the singing starts, I can hear Nick singing behind me. For 3 years old, he has an energetic singing voice. I look behind me, and he's standing on the bench, aiming his voice to the ceiling, while singing his heart out. He has the reddest hair I've ever seen, cut neatly, as most little boys are. In between songs, he giggles before joining in again. When the service was over, Jennifer and I approached Gabriel and Luke. Jennifer had an idea. "Hey, Gabriel, can I ask you some ideas?" "What about?" He looks like he is suspicious of her. "I was thinking that maybe we could advertise online so people from out of town would come and see the foxes. Maybe we could teach them some tricks and set up the rest of the property nice." "Sure, we can do that. Maybe we could get rich by turning the property into a fox-based theme park." I could tell that Jennifer thought it was crazy, but she continued to encourage him. "Can we go sit in the gazebo and talk about it? I don't want to talk business inside of the church. I bet you could help me brainstorm some ideas." "Of course, and I brought my notebook, so we can sketch some plans if you would like." Gabriel nodded at Luke. "You want to come with us or wait here?" I quickly respond so Luke couldn't. "He'll be fine right here. I'll keep him company for a few minutes." Luke shrugged. After Jennifer and Gabriel walked away, I figured I had better hurry before someone else interrupted. "Luke, have you heard anything strange today?" He went from looking jumpy to looking irritated. "Was that you?" "Was what me?" "Calling my name." "No, it wasn't, but I can help you make it stop." "If it wasn't you, then how do you know about it, and how can you make it stop?" "I helped Jennifer when it happened to her, and I can hear the voice too. It's complicated, and it has to stay a secret from others. I can explain more if we could meet somewhere. Jennifer might come too, because it's already happened to her." "What happened?" Before I could say anything else, Luke's parents, Levi and Hope, walked up. "Everything okay, kids?" Hope is a lot like her sister Isabella. She is soft-spoken and very nice to everybody. "Sure, Jennifer just needed Gabriel's opinion on an idea she had for the foxes, so we were visiting while we waited." "I see. I hope the service was inspirational to you." "Of course, Pastor Levi, it always is." Levi and Hope walk over to Jennifer and Gabriel. They all laugh as they talk except Gabriel. It took a lot to make him laugh. He didn't think very many things were funny. I could see him shrug and point to the paper. "Look, I believe we need to go to Emmett and Phoebe's farm. I think it would be better to just go and show you what I need to show you, rather than trying to explain it first. Otherwise it will be more confusing than it has to be. Can we agree to meet near the farm around 3 o'clock? "I guess I can make an excuse to go for a walk around 3, but I'll have to be back home by 5 for dinner." "Great. We'll meet you at 4th and Main around 3 o'clock. Please don't bring anybody with you or tell anyone that you are meeting us." "What if my parents want to know where I'm going?" "I'm sure you will think of something. You are a really smart kid." I nod at Jennifer. She says something to Gabriel, shakes hands with Levi and Hope, then comes walking over to me. Luke walks over to Gabriel and his parents. Jennifer came to my house after church. We had some grilled cheese sandwiches with pickles and tomatoes on them. They are my favorite type of sandwich. With a tall glass of vanilla almond milk, it's perfect. We hang out and talk about the things we had been through this summer, as well as the possibilities of what else could happen. The voice calls for Luke several times while we are visiting. It is about 2:45 p.m. when we head out the door. As we walk past Luke's apartment, we can hear the front door open. To not raise suspicion, we wave and say hello. Luke waves back at us. We can hear Luke talking to his parents. "I'll be back in a little while." We walk the block and a half down Main Street to 4th. After we cross the street, we wait a moment for Luke to catch up to us. "That was perfect timing. What did you tell your parents?" "I just told them that I wanted to take a walk and enjoy the peace and quiet of nature. They thought it was a good idea." "Great. We'll make sure to enjoy nature on our walk. That's easy." I motioned for Jennifer and Luke to follow me. "I believe we need to go this way." "It's humming again." Jennifer was pointing to my pants pocket. "Mine is too." "What is that noise? And what do you mean again? I really wish you guys could tell me what is going on." Jennifer and I nod at each other, then pull our crystals out. They are glowing just like last time. Luke reaches out to touch them and they get much brighter. He pulls his hand away quickly, looking frightened. Is this some sort of prank? No, it's not. You need to trust us. Luke, came a whisper in the breeze. Who said that? Luke was obviously scared. It's okay, it's just your crystal calling you. There's a crystal just like ours waiting out here for you. Don't be scared. It isn't going to hurt you. We must find it. I turn off of the road and start walking through a Christmas tree lot that Emmett and Phoebe continue to grow and maintain. The ground here is much more spongy than the ground near the footpath was. The farm has been here for several generations. It was Emmett's great-great-grandpa that had started the Christmas tree lot back when he was a teenager, so the pine needles are extremely thick. I motion for Luke to follow us. Luke, the whisper came again. Luke pointed straight in front of us. I think it's coming from that direction. Well, let's go. I was trying to encourage them. Jennifer looks excited, but Luke looks nervous and hesitant. We walk a little farther, then I see a glow coming from a branch of one of the trees. It's in the tree. I pointed in the direction of the glowing. It is obvious that his crystal is vibrating based on the sound coming from the tree. How are we supposed to get to that? Jennifer seems a little irritated. Yeah, I can't be climbing a tree in these clothes. My parents would be really upset. I know how. Luke, you have to use your ability. I look at him and smile. Ability? Luke asked. Yes, your ability. Over the course of summer vacation, Jennifer and I have developed types of psychic abilities. It is now your turn, and your ability is to move things with your mind. Close your eyes, open your hand, and picture the crystal moving into it. He gives me a really strange look. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. Do it, she knows things. Luke was skeptical, but he did as he was told. The crystal floated out of the tree right into his hand. It was amazing. Even though Jennifer and I had our own abilities, it was still incredible to watch. Luke opens his eyes. All of our crystals stop glowing and humming. Luke has a huge grin on his face. Is this really happening? Am I dreaming? What can you two do? I can find things that are missing, and I can see auras. Are you the one that put a bunch of my missing stuff in front of my door? That would be me. Why didn't you just give the stuff to me? I couldn't tell anybody about my ability. Okay, so what about you, Jennifer? What can you do? Jennifer hesitates a moment. I can heal things. What kinds of things? People and animals, as far as I know. I haven't tried plants. I thought I could hear someone yell. Then Luke's crystal started glowing again. That's strange. Why is it glowing again? Luke looks at me. Jennifer pulls hers out. Mine is too. That is strange. Maybe you two are needed. Do you feel like you need to go anywhere? I look at each of them. Suddenly Jennifer was really upset. We have to hurry. She starts running towards the driveway. Luke and I run after her. She keeps running all the way up the driveway and around to the back of the house. When we get past the house, we can see a tractor on its side with the engine sputtering. Luke runs up to the tractor as the engine dies. We can see an arm sticking out from under the tractor. It isn't moving. Luke calmly closes his eyes, puts both of his hands up, with his palms facing the tractor. As he stands like that, the tractor hovers about 2 feet off the ground, then tips back to an upright position. Jennifer runs over to Emmett. She puts her hands over his chest and sits there for a couple of minutes. He made a strange noise as his chest started moving again. He was breathing, but he wasn't moving or opening his eyes. I'll go get Phoebe. I run to the house. Phoebe! Phoebe comes running out the back door. Emmett had an accident. Go to him and I'll call Ella. I run to her phone as she runs past me. I dialed Ella. Hello? Ella, it's Kassandra. Emmett had an accident. The tractor rolled on top of him. We got it off, but he's not moving or opening his eyes. Feeling frantic was making me talk really fast. I'll be right over, honey. I'll have Samuel radio the men in case we need help. Try to calm down and go stay with him. I run back to where Emmett is lying. Phoebe is on the ground, holding his head in her lap and rocking back and forth. She is crying, and I can't understand what she is saying. I called Ella. She'll be right over. Jennifer, Luke, and I stand in silence while Phoebe cries. It is so surreal. It seems like an eternity has gone by before people start showing up. I walk around to the edge of the house and see that Ella is the first person to pull into the driveway. I notice several cars pull in behind her, but I don't pay attention to who they are. Ella is as calm as always. She never looks afraid. Ella puts on a pair of gloves, then kneels down next to Emmett. Explain to me what happened. Ella is checking his pulse and blood pressure while we explain. We tell her that we found him under the tractor. Yes, we moved the tractor, and no, we hadn't moved him. Ella listened to him breathe through her stethoscope, as well as listening to his stomach area. Emmett, are you okay? Are you feeling any pain? This is Ella. I'm just examining you to see if you have any injuries. Grandma, why are you talking to him like that when he isn't responding? Hearing is the last sense to lose. Even if he isn't responding, he could still hear us. I just want him to know that we are doing what we can to make sure he is okay. Could someone please take off his boots? Ella begins to sing a very pretty song. She likes to sing to help calm and relax her patients. When she thinks it might help, she pulls something out of her bag and starts poking Emmett's fingers and toes. I think I could see little twitches, but I'm not sure. She then opens his eyelids and looks into his eyes with a small light. She stops singing to speak. He doesn't appear to have any injuries at all. My guess is that he's in shock. We should move him to his bed so he can rest comfortably. Gage, get my backboard and neck brace out of my van, please. Yes, Mom. Ella goes back to singing. I look behind Jennifer to see Gage nod at Ella. As he walks away, I look around and notice that several of the men in town are here. My dad is standing behind me and puts his hand on my shoulder. Not only is Jennifer's dad here, but so is her Grandpa Blake, from her mom's side of the family. Roger Willis and his son, Michael, are both here. Luke's Grandpa Daniel, Tasha's dad Desmond, Denny's great-uncle Anthony, and Mrs. Destiny's father-in-law Dale are all gathered around. Paul Donahue is walking around, taking pictures of the tractor and the people for the newspaper. Normally he doesn't take the photos. It is Layla's job, but apparently he wants to be here for this one. He is actually the owner of the paper, so he decides who works on which story. Sheriff Victor Connolly comes walking up to us as Gage comes back with the backboard and neck brace. It is obvious that there is plenty of manpower here. It is the entire unofficial emergency crew, except of course for Emmett. They all have jobs, but in an emergency they will close up shop if they need to. Today only Blake and Anthony needed to. Everybody else was closed for the weekend. Ella puts the neck brace on Emmett, then the guys take over, carefully rolling him over to put the board under him. They roll him back, strap him on, then carry the backboard to Emmett's bed. There they repeat the routine backwards to get the board back out from under him. It all happens so fast. I guess you could say it is like a well-oiled machine, the way people work together. I will stay here and monitor him for a little while. I don't want to remove the neck brace just yet. Thank you, everybody, for all of your help. It gets noisy as the guys are saying their goodbyes and offering to help Phoebe if she needed it. When it finally winds down, there are only a few men left. Mine and Jennifer's dads, Paul, and the sheriff are all watching us. Sheriff Connolly beats our dads to the punch. What happened out there? Why were you kids here in the first place? Jennifer and I were taking a walk when we heard a yell. She started running, so I ran too. Luke was taking a walk nearby and ran to see what was wrong. We saw Emmett's arm sticking out from under the tractor, and we knew that we had to get it off of him, so we did. Then I went to get Phoebe and call Ella. Jennifer and Luke just nodded in agreement. That's a pretty heavy tractor for 3 kids to lift. Come on, Victor, they probably saved his life. Why are you being so hard on them for doing something good? My dad is always protective of his kids and all of our friends. I'm not trying to be hard on them, I just want to know what happened. Kassandra has just told you. Come on, Cass, let's get you home. Luke, I'll give you a ride too. Jennifer's dad reaches his hand out for Jennifer's hand. Mom, we're going to go. If you need anything else, call me. Gage picks up the backboard with his other hand, then escorts Jennifer to his van. I give Phoebe and Ella hugs, then we leave. Jennifer calls me the next morning. She says that Emmett is doing better. He is awake. He remembers that he was driving the tractor, but doesn't remember the accident at all. He is dizzy and has a headache, but he is happy to be alive. There doesn't appear to be any damage, or any permanent damage. Her grandma had told her that he was talking kind of strange, but it would pass. Jennifer is thrilled that she had helped save him, and she said that she would call Luke also. Do you think you can meet me at Grandma Ella's in a few minutes? I want to talk with her, and I would like it if you could be there too. Sure, I'll leave as soon as we hang up. Thanks. She hung up the phone. I walk over to Ella and Samuel's, admiring all the beauty around me. Life is so precious and fragile, I just feel the need to really enjoy every living thing that I can see. It's a short walk, but there are butterflies, dragonflies, cats, dogs, flowers, trees, grass, and even a cute little bunny, all for me to enjoy looking at. Despite all of the scenery, I am worried about Jennifer. I can't imagine why she would want me to meet her at the doctor's. I know it's her grandma, but I've never known her to go over there, except when she wrecked her bike. Jennifer arrived around the same time as me. Is something wrong? Everything is fine. I just realized what I want to do with my life, and I need to talk to my grandma about it. You had me worried. Why didn't you tell me that on the phone? Sorry? I shake my head, but I feel more relieved than upset. We walk up to the front door and ring the doorbell. Samuel answers the door. Good morning, girls. Come on in. We follow him into the living room, and I shut the door behind me. What can I do for you two? I need to talk to Grandma, please. Are you hurt? No, I just want to bounce some ideas off of her. That's good. I'll go get her. Samuel walks down the hall to one of the exam rooms. Jennifer and I stand there looking at Samuel's fish tank. It is beautiful. A blue background is attached to the back of the tank to make it look more like an ocean. A treasure chest is in the corner, opening and closing every time it fills up with bubbles. In the center of the tank is a large sunken ship that the little black and red shark likes to hide in. Cory catfish are hiding inside of a rock, while tetras, mollies, platies, swordtails, and guppies swim around. Tiny babies swarm the live plants that are in the tank. A very fat platy is trying to hide under a plant at the bottom of the tank. She must be getting ready to have babies. Samuel comes back out and walks towards us. She'll be right with you. In the corner of the room stands a beautiful glass curio cabinet. Each shelf contains different types of fairies from a variety of artists. The top shelf has a plaque on it that says Michelle Bradshaw. The fairies look very realistic, with real twigs and other natural items constructing them. The second shelf has a plaque that reads Oak Art. They are almost as realistic, but appear to have sad faces. Further down are fairies designed by Jasmine Ann Beckett Griffith. They have a Japanese style to them and are more cartoonish. Then closer to the bottom is a Tinkerbell collection. There was almost no time at all when Ella came out of the exam room. Emmett was with her. Let me know if you have any other problems. Don't hesitate to call or come by. Emmett nods at Ella, then smiles and waves at us without saying a word. He opens the front door and heads outside. Before I forget, Emmett wanted me to let you girls and Luke know to meet Phoebe at the bank at 1 o'clock. So what can I do for you two? Grandma, I think I might want to be a doctor or something. Or something? I want to help people that are injured. I want to save lives. I'm just not sure what type of doctor I might want to be. I think I want it to be natural healing, though, like my parents are into. I think that is a brilliant idea. I was a little worried about who I could train to take my place. I would love it if this town could get more natural health care. Could you teach me some of the basics? You know, like how things work, what damage could happen if something isn't working right, that kind of stuff? Whenever you have some time to spare, come by and I'll teach you as much as I can. Pretty soon you'll know more than the average bear entering medical school. Thanks. I will be back later today or tomorrow. We walk back to Jennifer's house for brunch. Jennifer calls Luke as soon as we get there. Although I don't care much for meat, sometimes I'll eat chicken or turkey. Jennifer's mom knows that, so she made turkey sandwiches for us. Thanks, Mrs. Nelson. Always a pleasure, Cass. We eat our food somewhat slower than normal. Jennifer had a puzzled expression on her face that didn't really go away, even while she ate. Hey, Cass, what do you think Phoebe wants? Maybe she wants to give each of us $20 or something. I can't really imagine her being able to afford more than that. We finish eating our food in silence. The bank is next to the mall on the east side. We get there at about 2 minutes before 1 o'clock. Luke is walking in just ahead of us. I could see Patrick Murdoch, the owner of the bank, sitting at the desk in his office. He inherited the bank from his dad, Nathan. Rain is helping a customer at the counter. She has been a teller since she graduated high school. She met Patrick's son, Max, and they fell in love instantly. After Max's mom died in a car accident, he was promoted to bank manager. Patrick thought it would make it financially easier for Max and Rain to take care of his grandkids, Kimmy and Brandy. Phoebe comes walking out of Patrick's office. She is a very gorgeous dark-skinned woman. She has dark curly hair that I've dreamed of having myself. She has a white tank top on and gold-colored jewelry all around. I assume the jewelry is fake because I figured they probably struggle a lot like everybody else around here. She shakes each of our hands, then sits down and motions for us to sit as well. Once we are all seated, she begins to talk. There is nothing in this world that I can say or do to thank you kids enough for saving my husband's life. You went above and beyond what I think most people would do. Emmett and I talked this morning, and he wanted me to thank you guys to the best of our ability. So I have something for each of you. She handed each of us an envelope with the bank's name on it. We only did what we thought was right. I'm sure others would have done the same. We can't be the only caring people in the world. Either way, Emmett and I are both grateful to the three of you. He wouldn't be here if you guys wouldn't have heard him scream and come to his rescue. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. With that, Phoebe stands back up and waits for each of us to stand. She gives each of us hugs, then she walks out. I carefully open my envelope so I don't damage it. There's $500 in it. Obviously, Emmett and Phoebe have more money than I had realized. I am stunned. I look at Jennifer, then Luke. Luke is pale and looks like he might faint. I sit back down in hopes that he would do the same until he could get some color back. So now what? What do you mean? Jennifer was staring at me. Well, that was completely unexpected. I'm at a loss as to what we should do. Let's buy lottery tickets, Jennifer starts laughing. We are not old enough, and besides, I don't think that would be appropriate. Appropriate? The money is a thank you gift. We should all use it however we want to. I might just have my parents take me out of town to go shopping. I could use some new art supplies. I'm running a little low. You know, my mom's birthday is coming up. Maybe I should think of something nice to get her. Maybe Evan could build her something. Does she need any furniture? Luke is onto something here. She was just saying that she was out of room on her bookshelf. Maybe he can make her a new bookshelf, or even a pair of matching ones to replace the one she has. That's a great idea. My brother Justin has a birthday coming up too. Maybe I can order him something. Jennifer was always good to her brothers, so I'm sure she will get him something amazing. Let's go. Luke had to get home so his parents wouldn't worry. So once we got across the street, we walked our separate ways. We headed south down 2nd Street for 1 block, then we turned right on Garden Road. Michael was out in front of his house watering an apricot tree. Hey, Michael, I waved to him. Hey, kids, nice day to be outside. It's fantastic. Jennifer was definitely in a good mood. Are the apricots ready yet? Not yet. It's still a little too early to pick them. Michael is the town mechanic. He always knows the answers anytime anybody has a mechanical problem. He can fix a lot of things and not just vehicles. Even though he never married his high school love Layla, they always did their best to support their son. Layla is an attractive woman, but has always been extremely independent, so she didn't like the idea of being married. Her and Michael raised Aiden as friends. Aiden turned out to be a nice guy that always keeps his word. That is a hard quality to find in someone. I think the unusual relationship between his parents made him a better person. We head next door to Evan's. Bernie does a fairly good job keeping the lawn up for Evan. It is perfectly trimmed and the color is rich. We enter the gate next to the house and walk back to his workshop. Inside the workshop there is a lot of furniture. There are also wooden statues that he has carved. Evan walks into the room and approaches us. He is a muscular man that is partially balding. The little bit of hair he has looks red, so that is probably where his grandson Nick gets his red hair from. He always has a smile and appears to be friendly. Is there something I can help you kids with? Yes, I want to order a couple of bookshelves for my mom's birthday. Come with me to my desk and we can work out the details. I follow Evan and sit down in one of his magnificent chairs. The chair looks like a wooden igloo with a seat carved into it. On his desk there are a few books. I have seen them before at the local library. They are books that he had published with pictures of some of his most amazing work. So tell me, what size of bookshelf you want first? I use my hands to show him how big I think they should be. Evan starts going over costs of different sizes, woods, and designs. Do I want cedar, oak, or pine? Do I want to keep the price down by having the sides simple or flat, or with a design carved into them? Do I want bookends? Are the books all novels, or does there need to be a taller shelf? By the time we are done planning it, half of an hour must have gone by. I pay him for the bookshelves, and he hands me some change. Jennifer is getting restless. Is it my turn yet? I want to order something. Evan shakes my hand. Yes, I think we are finished. I'll call you if I have any problems or questions. What can I help you with, Jennifer? I need a present for Justin. What kind of present? I don't know. Maybe you can help me figure out something. Well, what kind of things does he do in his spare time, and what things does he like? Jennifer thinks for a minute. He likes basketball. He likes monkeys. I don't know if he really likes anything else. Even video games. He only plays basketball games and jungle games. How about a sculpture of a monkey wrapped around a basketball? Oh, that sounds cool. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, how big do you want it? How about 2 feet tall? That's a big basketball. Are you sure? Yeah, you can do that, can't you? I believe I can. Jennifer hands him the money to pay for her order. I'll call you girls when your stuff is ready. We walk out of Evan's shop and then walk around the corner. Sydney is watering the flowers outside her laundromat. When her and Evan broke up, he gave her a piece of his property. He didn't need the entire piece of property. After all, it was a lot and a half. He thought Sydney could start her own business to help support their daughter Destiny. I have no idea why they ever split up. They are both very intelligent people. And to top it off, I heard that they never even filed for divorce. They say that she just started using her maiden name again after she moved out. Although I've also heard that they hang out together on the weekends. I'll probably never know the truth about them since they've tried to keep their private lives private. We both wave to her and she waves back. Tuesday was a very casual day. I spent most of the day kicking back and reading. In between chapters, I would think about the things that had happened this summer. I like to daydream because it sometimes helps me to focus on things I want in life. It gives me time to think about what has happened, as well as thinking about the things that I want to accomplish. Sometimes I just feel the need to have some alone time. It makes me feel rejuvenated. When night comes, I am feeling restless. It's not so much that I feel I have to spend all of the money. I just feel like I want to share with others. I think it would be nice to have lunch with all of the kids in town maybe tomorrow. There are only 7 houses with kids under 18 years old, and one of them is mine. so I only have to make 6 phone calls to set it up, and one other phone call to let Susan know we are all coming to her cafe. The only person that is hesitant is Mrs. Destiny. She thinks Nick is too young to hang out without an adult, so she asks if she can come along. I don't see a problem with that. Sometimes having an adult around is a good idea. The cafe is less than 2 blocks away. I originally thought I would go there early because I have an obsession with being early. I wanted to make sure everything was perfect, but I decided to let Susan and Rebecca handle it, so I can walk with everybody else. Mrs. Destiny would be driving there with her kids, Brooklyn and Nick. She also said she would give a ride to Kimmy and Brandy since they live on the other side of her duplex. While we wait for Jennifer and her brothers to walk to the apartments, the rest of us gather in the parking lot. Once Jennifer, Julian, and Justin arrive, we all start walking down Main Street to the cafe. The cafe has been set up really cute. Susan and her daughter Rebecca had pushed the 3 large tables together, end to end, then put a small table on each end. It is perfect with 1 seat to spare. The tables were set up to look like a buffet. There were pans with burgers and all of the stuff to go on them. There was a pan full of grilled cheese sandwiches with a variety of different cheeses. There were large bowls with spaghetti, soup, chili, and macaroni. She must still have the desserts in the kitchen, so we have plenty of space on the tables. As I look at the kids sitting around the table, I am amused. Everybody is sitting in order by age out of habit. The only exception is that Mrs. Destiny is sitting between her 2 kids, while Chrissy sits on the other side of Brooklyn next to her sister Annie. It is perfect. As soon as things quiet down, I ask Luke if he could say the prayer for us. When he has finished, it looks and sounds like chaos for about 15 minutes, with everybody dishing up their food. Then it mellows back down some while everybody starts having conversations in small groups. Denny's mom, Rebecca, walks up to us. She has wavy blonde hair and soft blue eyes. Her skin is pale in a delicate and beautiful way. Her smile is the sweetest one I've ever seen. She's definitely the one that Denny gets his dimples from, although he gets his darker skin, hair, and eyes from his dad. What can I get everybody to drink? She goes around the table, writing down what each person wants. Does anybody need anything else? Everybody is shaking their heads. Grace is on my right and Denny on my left. Hey Grace, any idea what you want to do for Mom for her birthday? Not really. Do you have plans? I ordered her some new bookshelves. They could be from both of us and Gabriel. I'm sure you guys will love them. You don't care? Of course not. You guys are my family. Thanks. I will still try to come up with something else too. Maybe I can fix her a nice dinner. She would love that. I know she really enjoys your cooking. We could also go order her a cake from Phoebe when we are done with lunch. We only have about 2 weeks left. What do you think? You want to go with me? Only if I get to help design it. I wouldn't have it any other way. Gabriel, you want to come too? No, I have to work on something after lunch. You'll just have to like whatever we pick out then. No problem. I like all cake. Just then, Rebecca and Susan come out with all of our drinks. I guess Susan decided to give her a hand since there were so many. 17 drinks is a lot for one person to carry. Susan hands me the water I asked for, with a bowl of lemons on the side. I always get the same thing even when we go out of town. It just makes me feel better about myself and gives me a refreshing feeling. Halfway through the meal, I could hear the front door open, so I look up. Jimmy comes into the cafe and is walking over to the counter. His wife Ava washes dishes here. She comes out and gives him a kiss. I can't hear them over the chatter at our tables, but they are talking and obviously very much in love. Her soft snow blonde hair falls into her face as she looks down at something that Jimmy has in his hands. She brushes the hair away, pushing it behind her ear, then looks back up and gives him another kiss. When Jimmy walks back out, I notice that Blake and Anthony are sitting at one of the 2 remaining small tables, having lunch. They notice me looking at them, and we wave at each other. Lunch and conversation carried on for over 2 hours. There was talk about a future field trip, school starting, new music, movies that are coming out, plans for the future careers, and many other things that I couldn't hear. It was the most enjoyable lunch I think I've ever had. It was satisfying to see everybody together and getting along, even with an occasional complaint from Kimmy. I'm grateful that nobody remembers the arguing inside the caves. When I went to pay the bill, Jennifer and Luke insisted on sharing the bill with me. We found out that Mrs. Destiny had prepaid for part of the bill as well. Grace and I left the cafe and headed to the farm. Technically, it was just across the street, or at least the edge of it was, so it didn't take us long at all, although we did decide to stick to the road and driveway this time. It was nice to walk up the driveway without the feeling of panic. Walking up the steps of the porch, I noticed that their cat had a litter of kittens. They were all curled up on a thick pet bed. I reached up and pushed the doorbell. Phoebe looked startled when she opened the door. I promise, no bad news this time. Sorry, I'm just not used to having people show up here without calling. Oh, I didn't think to call first. We were just having lunch at the cafe and we realized that we wanted to get our mom a cake for her birthday. When is her birthday? August 12th. Okay, we have plenty of time. Come on in, and we can decide what to make. Grace and I walk into her home. It is much nicer than I had realized. I guess in the chaos of the accident I hadn't noticed much detail. It is obvious that Emmett and Phoebe like animals. Their end tables are carved to look like wolves, with round glass tabletops. There's a coffee table in front of their couch that is carved to look like a creeping cheetah. On the walls, several mirrors are hung in frames that are carved to look like eagles. I would guess that Evan has done a lot of work for them. We follow Phoebe to her dining room table and sit down. First, I need to know what flavor of cake you want. Chocolate. Grace, Mom doesn't like chocolate. I could bake more than one flavor depending on the size of cake you want. How about a chocolate one to make Grace happy, since it's the only flavor she likes, then a spice cake to make our mom happy? Sure, I could do that. Do you want it layered, side by side, or in some sort of shape? What kind of shapes do you have? Phoebe gets up and gets a photo album off of a shelf. She sets it down in front of us so we can look through it. How about a unicorn for the chocolate one? I know Mom likes unicorns. That's a good idea, Grace. What about each flavor made into separate unicorns? That will work. What colors does your mom like? White, baby blue, and lavender. So I can do one unicorn in white and blue and the other in white and lavender. Yeah, that would be perfect. Maybe use the lavender for the spice one and the blue for the chocolate. I can do that. And you said August 12th? Yes. How much do we owe you? This one is on me. Really? Of course. We all stood up. Grace and I gave her hugs. Thanks. Thank you. I owe you. We said our goodbyes and went back home. Okay, so that's the end of part 4. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and stick around to watch the lyric video at the end, and please like, subscribe, comment, share, and watch the rest of the book videos so you can read or listen to the whole story. And thank you for watching. Bye.
The small town of Auslage, some crystals were found, bestowing upon the kids powers abound. Together they journey through Auslage land, their power token to cherish the powers they hold. Oh, with each new adventure, their skills grow stronger. A small squad of heroes, nothing can conquer. Enigmas of Auslage, a town of wonder, with powers granted, the spell they're under. Kassandra, Jennifer, Blue, Grace, and Danny, Destiny's dream, leading them steady. The small town of Auslage, the crystal so clear, a token of power, treasures once feared. Oh, Kassandra and her friends, with skills out of sight, the small town of Auslage, a mighty delight. Oh, Kassandra and her friends, with skills out of sight, the small